Discover the advantage of unlimited access to all the stories and resources from IBJ and inside Indiana business. From insights to inspiration, business leaders rely on the IBJ for all things Indiana business. Start your $1 a week trial now at ibj.com/trial offer.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, September 15th, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. Before the season started, Indianapolis Colts head coach Shane Steichen was thinking of a way to honor Jim Irsay, the longtime team owner who died earlier this year. He landed on the idea of a custom guitar and reached out to the Purdue Guitar Lab and Professor Mark French to craft it.
He was very much a collector, but also a player. And you see these people once in a while. They do both. Well, by the time you've done both of those things, you're emotionally pretty connected with the instrument. And so it's not hard to imagine why they would want to do that as a tribute to him.
The guitar is presented to a player of Steichen's choosing at every Saturday night team meeting, and that player brings the guitar into whatever stadium the team is playing in on game day. The town of Dillsboro in southeast Indiana is seeking development proposals for a historic structure built in 1890. The request for proposals is part of the town's effort to revitalize North Street in conjunction with a $1.5 million streetscape project and an effort to transform nearby green space into a performing arts and public market hub. Proposals are being accepted through October 31st. Indiana revenue collections exceeded the most recent projections last month. The Indiana State Budget Agency says that general fund revenues in August totaled just under $1.6 billion, which was $60.4 million higher than the April 2025 forecast, or 4%. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
The American Civil Liberties Union of Indiana has sued Indiana State University, alleging the school violated the First Amendment when it terminated funding for student workers at a local nonprofit.
An organization that advocates for LGBTQ+ individuals in and around Vigo County, called the Pride Center of Terre Haute, is almost entirely operated by volunteers, but has been able to use student workers from ISU who are paid in part by the Pride Center and in part by federal work-study funds and grants from the Sycamore Community Work Program. Both of those extracurricular funds are administered by the university according to court documents. However, following new U.S. Department of Justice guidance, the school terminated the work study and other funding for student workers at the Pride Center, leaving the organization to find grants elsewhere for the time being. The Pride Center stated in its complaint on Monday that although the organization was established to serve and advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, its services are open to all, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation. Some of the services it says it provides are HIV testing, educational seminars, game nights, trivia contests, and classes, which are open to all. The Pride Center has been open since 2021, and ISU students have been employed there through the program and federal funds since 2022. As of early August, there were 4 ISU students employed on a part-time basis through the work program and the federal work-study funds. I'm Marek Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
The Indiana Department of Correction began sending payments to dozens of counties today to cover costs for housing state prisoners, ending months of delays that left local jails without reimbursements. The reimbursements are for jail holds, where inmates who have been convicted of state crimes remain in county jails until the DOC picks them up. State law requires pickup within 5 days, but counties are reimbursed at a daily rate for each additional day an inmate is held. The Indiana General Assembly raised that per diem earlier this year, and a DOC spokesperson said the department currently owes approximately $6.1 million to 41 counties for such holds. The $1.4 billion I-69 Ohio River crossing project has been envisioned for decades. Construction continues in both Evansville and Henderson, Kentucky, to prepare for a new 4-lane bridge over the Ohio River that will connect the two cities. Lloyd Winnicky, CEO of the Evansville Regional Economic Partnership and the former mayor of Evansville, underscored the importance of the project and gaining federal support to complete it.
On a broader scale, think about FedEx in Memphis. Think about the FedEx presence in Indianapolis. FedEx has expressed huge support for this project because they understand the connection between Memphis and Indianapolis. So this just is a huge project for, again, the region, but also for the entire country.
His comments echo those of U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who visited the site last week and called the project, quote, important for America. Indiana Fever legend Tamika Catchings is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
Get a behind-the-scenes look at Indiana's most influential leaders. On Business and Beyond, we go beyond titles and resumes to explore the personal stories, pivotal moments, and hard-won lessons that shape Hoosier leadership. Hear from the people driving Indiana forward in their own words. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcast or at ibjpodcasts.com.
The IBJ Media Podcast Network is the soundtrack of a growing state. Indiana is on the move, and you can hear it happening on the IBJ Media Podcast Network. We bring you the voices at the center of our economy, our courts, our companies, and our communities. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation that's building Indiana's future. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcasts.com.